everyone, and welcome to today's call. So today we have Tejal, and I have known her for, we actually figured it out today, 6 years. We're going to tell you a little bit more about her and why we're here today. So Tejal Sha Ravani is a happiness coach and facilitator, and she has been learning and practicing different non-medical techniques such as Theta healing, balanced emotional empowerment technique, past life regression, hypnosis, and access bars from access consciousness. Her passion is geared towards helping people by empowering them to look into their subconscious and allow change that they were wishing for. She also has fun with handwriting analysis and has pursued the science of happiness from the University of Berkeley. So Tejal has created workshops on forgiveness, mind over medicine, science of happiness, money, and self-love. With these tools and techniques, her clients get to discover their true self, their true desire, and manifest the life of their dreams. She truly believes that it's never too late to pick up a pencil and start learning. Everyone has the power and choice to change things, no matter how old they are. And what's beautiful is that she's with us today because she's going to help us with the power of forgiveness. Tejal, how are you?
I am doing good. How about you?
Good, thank you. And thank you for joining us.
No, thank you for inviting me. I'm excited and I'm really looking forward to this conversation. Thank you.
And the beautiful thing, and I said, we just talked about it a little while ago, you are one of the people we wanted to talk to, not only because you studied with us when we did the Theta healing with my sister and I, but you're here locally. And this is part of the Houston edition that we're doing, and that is why we were so happy to be able to invite you into the office and see you, because we haven't seen you in such a long time.
I know, and it's been great. I mean, I was really happy when you kind of contacted me and we kind of got this opportunity to sit down together and talk about it. So I'm excited.
Nice. And again, we met when we did the Theta healing courses, but you've done so much more in the past 6 years. Let's start there. How has the transformation been for you in your own life?
Well, it's been a great journey to start with. I got into this field out of actually denial. I met up with this lady back in India, and she was doing so many of these things which are absolutely not medical based. And everything just sounded so amazing and so magical. But, you're like doubting inside that, I think it's not going to work. I don't think it works.
Right.
So just out of their curiosity, just to prove them all wrong, I was like, okay, let me kind of, try to see what it is and, how it is. So I was in US, I think that was 2016. And that's the first time when we met, when I did my first class of Theta healing. And since then, it's, sitting in that class, seeing things, how it changed for myself, things that I was feeling so stuck with. Small, big didn't matter, but how easily it got resolved, how easily I could connect with myself and just easily change things for myself. I think it's been amazing. And I've been extremely grateful for the teachers that I've found throughout my journey back in India, in the US. There's so much to learn.
It is. And I love that you said that, because you kind of came with a skeptic mindset, as in, okay, I'm going to try it, but let's see what happens.
Yes.
And then you discover all these things. And like many of us, then you go dive deep into it. And now you get to help others.
Right.
Because we all know the power that it did for us.
Yeah.
Or the change of life, or change of perception, or shift of just any little thing that takes people out of their mundane, which is what this platform is for. So people can learn of, okay, you want to be a skeptic, just try it.
Exactly.
And if it doesn't work out, then it doesn't work out.
Exactly. And I tell you, Angie, I went with so much of preconception that this is not going to work. It's just, money-making business and stuff like that. But when I saw those changes, not just for myself, then you're trying to, work with your friends or your family members and use those tools and techniques, and how everything around me was changing. It's so beautifully. So that's when you're like, okay, this works. And now let me know more about it.
Right. So let's talk a little bit about, because I know that you've created different courses, and like we just talked about, the forgiveness is one of the ones that we want to talk about today.
Yes.
Forgiveness is a heavy word for a lot of people. What does forgiveness mean to you in the term of what we're going to talk about?
Okay. So forgiveness for me, I think, is more like I'm not telling anybody that you forget what happened to you, or you forget the person who did any kind of harm to you, it's, I think, just making that peace within yourself that that was in past. It just happened. I have no control over it. It happened so many years ago sometimes, but I am now ready to move on past that incident, not being stuck in the same situation where I feel super angry, or I have that strong, intense hatred or resentment towards somebody or some incident that happened. And just to accept it, just to come to a point where that thing does not matter anymore, where if you see that person right in front of you, it is just so irrelevant.
You no longer want to kill them.
Yes.
Okay.
But I'll tell you.
that would be my definition.
Yes, no, but and I know, as you said, it is hard. It's easier said than done. But I think just to have that intention that, okay, I want to pass this situation, I want to pass that thought of, being so revengeful towards somebody, and I want to move forward in my life, just to have that intention out will start your journey.
Right.
And I have seen it with myself, with so many people that I've worked with. And people had come to me with, as I said, it's strong anger towards something that has happened when they were 2-3 years old.
Right.
And because they were so badly stuck in that particular incident, their whole life, they couldn't be happy. They would have that hatred all the time. And while realizing that, okay, the key is in me, where I can now at least have that start where I can start forgiving things around me.
Right.
Because that's the basic key to happiness.
Right.
And everybody wants to be happy.
Yeah. And so I have a question for you. When we study the mind and body, if people would understand that holding some kind of emotion like anger, and not letting it go by forgiveness, but like holding on to this, it is physically going to change their anatomy and create sickness within them.
Absolutely. And so our mind, the way it is framed, is 10 to 12% of our mind is a conscious mind, where we do things according to what we need to do. But 88 to 90% is our subconscious mind, and you don't know which memory got stuck in our minds, in our subconscious mind, and that's making you behave in a particular way or in a particular pattern all the time. So once you connect with your mind, and it's not that hard, once you connect, the things just come out of you. And once it's released out of your body, you will feel that, people with some kind of a physical pain, they feel better.
Right.
People who stuck with a back issue or a knee issue for a very, very long time, but just by releasing that emotion from their body, from their mind, automatically cures their physical issues as well. So it helps you actually to deal in a much better way with any illnesses or diseases that you have been facing for a long time.
Right.
Yeah.
So let's kind of break it down a little bit, because like you said a little while ago, it sounds easier said than done.
Yes.
And let's be honest and completely accept the fact that there are some people, whoever it is, there are some people that hang on to the hurt because what happened really is hurtful. How would you help them move from like such an anger and hurt? How do they start this process? Because with anything, in order to heal, you have to want to heal. So that's number one. We can't convince anybody. But if the person really wants to, but they're so tied up because it was painful, because it was hurtful, because logically crap happens in life, and sometimes it's horrible crap. How do you help somebody that's like that get to the place of, okay, how do I forgive this?
Right.
Beep.
Right. No,
Almost said it.
Yes. No, you're right. And as I said, it's harder than you think it is. But just to have that intention out to start with, that starts your healing journey. And there are so many reasons that why people cannot forgive. I think many a times it's their ego, that they're like, okay, why should I forgive this person? But to understand that it's not for that person, it's for my peace, it's for my happiness. And there could be a reason where they think that if I forgive this person, I'm giving them a permission to hurt me again. Or they might feel that, oh, I can just walk over her all the time because she's going to forgive and forget and she's going to move on. But if there's something that bothers you so much that you know that it triggers the negative feelings or any kind of anger in you, you just connect with that thought. You ask your mind, okay, what it is about this person or about this incident that I am feeling stuck with.
Okay.
And there are ways, there are steps that you can follow in a particular way, and that will actually help you how to forgive. Because so many people come to me and they're like, okay, I really feel so revengeful for this person, but I don't know how to forgive. So there are ways we can do this. And something which is so amazing is human nature is built that, how we feel revengeful. It's a very basic and very natural way that everybody is going to feel as a humankind. But at the same time, the forgiveness is also part of humankind. So it can be as easy as feeling revengeful towards somebody. So once you just decide that, okay, I'm ready to move on, you will have ways to forgive it. And if we want to talk about it, I can just give you a little bit hint on how we can forgive.
Yeah. Because I think people are still like, okay, but how do I do this? Like, tell me the how.
Yes.
Right.
So there are many ways. There's a beautiful Hawaiian prayer. I don't know if you've heard about it. It's called Ho'oponopono. That's something which works beautifully with a lot of people. So I use that a lot myself. There is another way which again I use. It's one of my favorites. Is there are 3-4 steps that you need to do. First, I think you write down the people that you want to forgive.
Okay.
So you have, say, 3 names or 4 names in the list on a piece of paper. And then the second stage is where you write down, like you give a number to that hurt, that how you feel on the scale of 1 to 10, that how badly you feel that person has hurt you.
Okay.
So if it is really bad, you give a 10. If it's not too bad, it's a lower number. So you kind of rate that how that hurt is for me. And then you write down every single thing that has happened in that particular incident. What you said, what that person said, how you felt about it, how people kind of treating you differently after knowing what happened. So you write down everything that you have been not talking about, you have never shared with somebody. And then there's a little meditation. It's called cutting the cord.
Okay.
Where I kind of guide them through the meditation, and you just connect with yourself. You close your eyes and you think about that person that he's sitting or she is sitting right in front of you, and you tell them everything that you want to tell them. And a lot of times people usually cannot share. That's because that person could be a very close family member, could be your parents, could be your spouse, and you're fearful that their feelings will get hurt, right? So in your visualization, you just tell them everything that you ever wanted to. And then you visualize yourself getting a scissor and cutting that emotional cord, which kind of connects you with that person. And you tell yourself that, okay, I don't want that person to have any power over me. I want to be free. I want them to be free. And I'm just ready to be a new person. So there are ways to do it, but these 2, I think, are my favorites.
No, it's nice. And as you're explaining them, I'm thinking healing is so much easier than we make it to be.
Yes.
And I think it's harder on ourselves, keeping that anger and that hating and that resentment. Like, it's so much harder and so much energy killer. I don't even know how to say it. Like, it drains you even more.
Absolutely.
Because I love your process, and I've done processes like that. And it's true. Sometimes we just maybe need to let it out. The other part that I want to say is, for somebody to go work with you or with a coach or with somebody, it's to help guide them. But the power that we each have inside of us is so amazing that by having somebody like you guide them and creating this safe space for them to actually let out all this ball of energy of emotions and hatred and revenge and hurt and blah, 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 is necessary, because, we are social animals. We need the support of each other. But the power of our own mind and our own thing is so powerful that, I completely agree that once you let that go, forgiveness is so much easier
It is.
than what people make it out to be.
Yes, absolutely. And I have experienced myself, as I said, I've worked with so many people, and they feel that, what was the point of holding on to that burden on your shoulder, where you once realized that, okay, it's in me and I have a power to get rid of it.
Right.
And again, as I said, you may not be ready to forgive. You may not know how to forgive, but just to have that willingness that, okay, one day I want to be here and I want to feel free, is where the healing journey starts. And it's absolutely not hard. Once you know how to do it, it becomes like a part of your everyday life.
Let me make my list of who I'm forgiving today. So the other thing I wanted to go back to what you said is, I have also met some people and have helped some people that don't want to forgive because they're like, if I forgive, I don't want to be a doormat. Like, I don't want people to run all over me.
Right.
The way I see it, and I'm going to ask you how you see it, but the way I see it is, once you find within yourself that power that you can forgive, that you have gone through pain, you have gone through hurt, you have released it, and that emotional charge isn't there anymore, the mind isn't going to forget. So it's not like you're going to forget and become somebody else's doormat. It's, you are in your power now that your mind is going to tell you, hey, here's a yellow flag, here's a red flag, watch this. There's no emotional charge to it anymore. That's the way I see it.
Yeah, and you're right, because when you know that it's within you, then no matter what it is, no matter how hard it is, no matter how many years you have spent thinking about it, I've had people who come to me that they've left their careers because they go into such deep depression because of something that happened when they were, as I said, a little girl or a little boy. And once they realize that how much time that they have wasted, and talking about forgiveness, again, a lot of women, especially mothers, come to me feeling so guilty. They have their careers, they have a new baby, and juggling between the two things, and they cannot forgive themselves that, okay, I did not do right with my baby, or I couldn't give enough time to anybody. I'm not a good mother, I'm not a good wife. Could be so many things that especially women blame themselves for. So the journey starts with you forgetting and forgiving your own self and accepting yourself for whatever. Nobody's perfect. We are all humans. We are not robots. We are not like an on and off switch that, okay, I want to forgive, okay, let's switch it off and I'm fine. No, you might take years, you might take a day, you might take a week, but just accepting the fact that, okay, that's how I am, and I like the way I am, and I'm not perfect, and I'm ready to forgive myself. And once you have that energy in you, I think you will invite people who will be more friendly, who will be more like the things that you have created in your mind, that I don't like this person, or they have done this to me. Automatically, you'll see that how things are. Either they would just go away from your life, or you would come to a place where there is a better equation between you guys. So even if it is hard, but just to have that willingness will start changing things.
Yeah. And it's that shift of energy, that willingness, that whole thing. And it's like, I'm thinking of an example. Sometimes we take it out, let's say in the whole industry, like we're angry because of blah, and then we found it in our boss, and then we just hate the whole industry for it, of where the boss was. So when we eliminate that, and we start shifting the perception we have of the world and of the people around us. It's not only that we feel it, but we literally start taking off all these, A Course in Miracles calls it insane stories and mad ideas, because that's actually what they are. And like you said, we're not robots. We're nice and fleshy.
Nice. We have emotions, of course.
Exactly.
We are going to go through so many emotions just in a day. And every time you feel anger, every time you feel hatred or revengeful, so many hormonal changes are happening in your body, which is affecting you in so many ways that we don't know. And by not forgiving or by holding on to something which is hurtful, you are actually even stopping your receiving of feeling happy, receiving of abundance of any kind that you're looking for, receiving of love from people, and receiving of love from your own self. So if you let go, and if you're just ready to let go, things will start shifting.
So I'm going to throw a rock in the
Mm-hmm.
puddle. We, as humans, tend to want to blame everybody else for our hurt.
Mm-hmm.
And at times they deserve it. Like, I'm not saying no. There are
Yeah.
times that's, it happens.
Yeah.
But I think there's a saying, I can't remember what it is, but it's when you're pointing a finger, you're pointing one finger over there and three are pointing back at you.
Mm-hmm.
Forgiving ourselves can be a completely long list of things that we have never looked into.
Right.
And I think, I'm not saying to start there, but if we would start there, I think so many other things, and let's say all, but so many other things would just fade away. Because again, we live in a holographic world. We create the reality that we live. We can say it in so many different ways. Everybody's a mirror for us. So whatever it is that I am hating them for, whatever it is that I'm doing that for, or I am judging them for, that is something I have within me.
Exactly.
And not a lot of people want to see that.
Exactly.
They would rather blame somebody else and say, oh, I forgave them.
Right.
But they have to forgive themselves.
Yeah. And I'll tell you where I think people make the most mistake is they think that the other people is the culprit. And as you said, it's a very much possibility that they have done something wrong. But what is it that I am getting by holding on to that hatred? Okay, once you know that, okay, be angry if you want to be. That's fine. As I said, we are all humans. We all have emotions. For how long you want to hold on to that anger?
Right.
Do you want to waste years and months and weeks and how much ever time of your life just by hating somebody or just having that anger towards somebody? Or you want to start creating stuff for yourself where that thing just doesn't matter. Right. So even the benefits of forgiveness are so many. And one of them is time management. Because I've had, as I said, people who've been wasting their life, 20, 30 years of their lives with the belief that this person has done everything wrong to me. And when you start writing about what all wrong they've done, they would realize that it may be not as much as I was thinking, because human mind is going to create drama.
We extend it. Every year you extend the story a little longer. Yeah.
Exactly. So when you get that clarity of the anger that you're holding on to and how many years I still want to waste on it, do that. That's fine. That's your choice. But if you're ready to have a happier life where you have the power to let go and let it not affect you and just create things for your life, create whatever you wish for, that will make you free. That will actually give you the pleasure of freedom where nothing stops you. Because otherwise we waste our life just blaming everybody around us and get nothing out of it except for drama.
And actually, now that you say that, I think one of the things that will push us further is when we realize that, like what you were just talking about, if we're dragging this drama story of why I hate them so much because they did this, we're not only hurting ourselves, we're hurting the people we live with as well, because that is a version of the story that we keep repeating in our own family. So for example, if I'm a parent and I keep saying the same story of such and such person did that to me 20 years ago, and that's why I hate him and I can't, and he's a ass and blah, 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 blah.
Right.
What are the people in my family? What are my kids? What is my daughter going to pick up? So we are, instead of dealing with it and taking this, making it so much lighter and easier and actually forgiving and letting go of that crap, because by now it's crap. It happened 20 years ago.
Right.
But we're creating this turmoil and drama in our own kids that's not even theirs.
Absolutely. And we are all connected on this planet through electric waves that we cannot see. And everything has energy, right? We all must have experienced it, where you walk into the room and you suddenly get a feeling that, I don't like this person. What is it? It's the energy that you're feeling, right? So if you yourself are in that energy of anger or resentment, nobody around you is not going to feel it. Everybody in some or the other way is going to feel it. You know how kids especially, they perceive energy so beautifully and so easily that when a mother is angry, they're like, okay, something is wrong. Even if we have not said a word, they know that I'm not in a good mood, you know. So that's the energy that they're perceiving. So even forgiveness, which is a very, very essential part of being happy. And if you instill this kind of feelings into your kids from a very, very young age, they can have their life much better way, especially with the social media pressure and, you know, everything that's going on in the world. We want to make sure that they get to a point where they can help themselves.
Right.
Yeah.
No. Beautiful, honey. We are running out of time. I love the steps that you gave. How can somebody get in touch with you? Because yes, it's easier said than done. Yes, the process isn't, you know, you don't have to break a leg to go through the process. The process is easy. But I think it's so important for people that want to reach out to you to be able to do that in order to get that help. Because sometimes it's not that it's hard, it's just that push that we need. And I definitely know that you are able to do that. So where can people reach out to you?
Well, I am on Facebook and on Instagram. You can find me as Happy Soul by Tejal. That's my first name. So Happy Soul by Tejal on both Instagram and Facebook. And that's where I think you'll find me. I put most of my workshops, my talks that I come up with on there. So that's where you'll be able to find me.
Perfect. And as always, I mean, I have the links below. But no, and I think it's such an important topic because everybody says forgiveness like cliche, like, oh yeah, I have to forgive. Oh yeah. But it's true. Once you start doing it and you feel it and you feel the difference of not having that hurt or that anger or that crap, literal crap. That's my word for today.
Yeah.
Crap. It's so much better.
Yes.
And like we just said, it helps the environment. It helps the people. It helps our kids. It helps everybody that we live with. Because we're not meant to be carrying around all this drama.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And it's as easy as you can think of. It's as easy as, you know, taking a shower in the morning or getting ready for work. Once you know, it becomes a part of you.
Right. And again, to reiterate, I can't say that word today. Forgiving ourselves. I think that's where we need the most push.
Absolutely.
Because it's easy to point the finger to somebody else, but to see it inside us, I think that's a key takeaway.
Right.
Thank you, honey, so much for joining us.
You're
today.
most welcome. And thank you for this opportunity. Thank you for talking. And I had a great time.
Good.
Thank you.
Yay. All right, everybody. Bye. We'll see you later.